let's talk about all the books that I read for the month of October. Welcome to this House of Books. My name is Ashley, and yeah, like I said, let's talk books. The light is a little finicky. I'm hoping it's not too dark. We will see. If it is, I will try to lighten it during editing, but that's kind of finicky too. Yeah, we'll see. I always have a cup of coffee or something with me, so I have a cup of coffee this morning. I am also a homeschool mom, so there's a chance that this is wine. It is also election day as I am filming this, so I really wish it was wine. Let's get started. It was a really good reading month. I read 8 books. I did have 2 DNFs. I had a book that I'm carrying over, but let's get into stats. So this is my reading journal. I have not been good this year about actually filling it in. Some of my stats pages in the beginning, those are great. I have done them. I had great plans that I would do kind of junk journals, scrapbooking kind of stuff. I did great in the beginning of the year. This is all that I have for October. I have other plans for a book journal for next year. That will be coming out, I think, in December. I was sitting with my calendar last night, and I think that between this channel and my homeschool channel, I'm going to try to do 3 videos a week all through December as kind of like a Vlogmas kind of thing. So I'm really excited about that. Go to my stats here in the beginning. I read 8 books, like I said, for a total of 2,605. I definitely read some cozier, shorter books. It's definitely not my lowest amount of pages so far this year. My lowest was 2,300. And then I had an average rating of 3.75. So I am really trying to kind of nail down my, it got really bright. I'm really trying to nail down my rating system and to be really true about my feelings for it, no matter what other people are saying. I know that can be kind of tricky sometimes. So I'm really trying to rate honestly how I feel at the end of the book. All right, let's talk about my 2 DNFs. I DNF'd The House Witch by Delham Hatch. It comes off as it's supposed to be cozy. But even cozy books, you want some kind of forward-moving plot. I will show you. I got this far into it, and it's a chunk of a book. And there wasn't, it's 450 pages. There was not anything big happening. You're following a house witch who he ends up working in the kitchens for the king. He's extremely outspoken. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. He comes off as this good guy, but then also has this huge anger in him that he would be doing something and get so frustrated that glasses would explode behind him. Don't call yourself a good guy and then do stuff like that. Call yourself morally gray, and it just, I didn't like it. So DNF'd it. Enough talking about that. All right. And then my other was Wormwood Abbey by Christina Bear. I went into this thinking that I was going to love it. Now it got really dark. This has really, really good ratings on Goodreads. The writing was horrible. I don't know how people are reading this. It's very much so, then I did this, then I did that, then I did this, then I did that, then she did this, then I did this. It just really, really poor writing. I know it's self-published, but I don't understand how it has such a good rating. Even her description of people is extremely juvenile, and I did not make it very far. I made it 15 pages, and I kept setting it down and talking to my husband being oh my god, what is this writing? And that was it. The book that I still have not finished even now is Watership Down, the graphic novel. I was supposed to be reading this alongside my oldest for homeschool, and I have not made it that far. He finished it, which is fantastic. I am going to be prioritizing this month to finish it. All right, now let's talk about the actual books that I read and finished and for the most part enjoyed. All right, it was October. I had to. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. It was cute. I rated it 3.5. It's cozy romance, but heavier on the romance. And I could have done a little bit more on the cozy. You're following Jeannie, who has inherited this cute little cafe in a cute little town with all kinds of quirky characters in the town. She gets there and things start to happen in her cafe, and of course then there's a love interest that is coming in to help, and he is definitely grumpy. She's a little bit more sunshine, but also kind of reserved. It was cute. That's why, like, 3.5. I could have done just a little bit more, like, development of, like, the day-to-day running of the cafe. Like, I wanted a little bit more of that. It served its purpose for what I needed at the time, and I would definitely pick up, there's another one, I actually have it coming, The Cinnamon Shop, so I'm going to be reading that this month, and then there's a Christmas one, so if I like The Cinnamon Shop, I think that I will pick up the Christmas one. What I was reading in the reviews for this Cinnamon Shop one is that people actually liked it better than this, so I'm hopeful. Then my next book was Dreadful by Caitlin Rozakis. This was 4 stars. I thought it was cute. You're following Gav, and he comes to after an explosion, and he can't remember who he is, where he is, why he's there, anything. Turns out that he was a bad guy. And in this new reality of himself, he doesn't want to be the bad guy. And so how do you stop being the bad guy when you're in the middle of bad guy stuff? I thought it was really cute and funny. I really liked the goblins in this story. They were really funny, lighthearted, you know, like the comedic kind of stuff in the whole story. It was really cute. Definitely the kind of vibes that I was going for during October season. All right, I have closed my blinds right here because they were too much. I am going to take my glasses off because now I have my ring light on, which was what I was trying to avoid. But I can't right now with, like, it's partly cloudy, so the sun keeps coming in and out. It's too much. I read Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. This is book 2 after Assistant to the Villain. I think that I liked Assistant to the Villain more. This one, by the end, I was not captured in the story. I just didn't make a connection to this story really at all. I did rate it 3.5 because there were parts in it that I did enjoy. I don't know. There's a third one coming out. Will I read it? I don't know. I generally, if I rate books like a 3 or lower, I don't keep them on my shelves. This one was a 3.5. I think the first one I rated a 4. So I might hold on to them for a little bit and see when the next one comes out. But this, you're continuing following Evie, who works for the bad guy. But is he, or is he morally gray? You know, has there been other stuff that has happened? It was okay. That's what I'm going to leave it at. And then to just continue on with the vibes for the month, I read The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. So this is book 2 after the X-Hex. I rated this one 3.5 stars as well. I don't think it was as great as the X-Hex. Now, neither of them are like great writing. I mean, none of these like cozy books are great writing. I'm reading for them for the vibes. But I think that the X-Hex was funnier and wittier. It just had like better banter between the characters. This was definitely like insta-love. It just didn't quite nail it the same way. Again, there is a Christmas book coming out of, or I think it is already out for this one. And I would be interested to read the Christmas one and just kind of see. I definitely want to carry over some of like the cozy vibes into the Christmas season. So maybe I'll pick that one up. Then I have The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lindy. This is another 3.5 star. Is it great? No. Was it horrible? No. I showed this on my book haul, and it's gorgeous. It has end papers, all kinds of... It's just a pretty, pretty book. I wish that the inside was just a little bit better. There was nothing that, like, stood out horrible in this book. It just wasn't great. Like, I finished it, and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm glad that I read that. I will probably pick up the next one. It just wasn't great. So you are following Kierce, who lives in New York City, and this is 13 years after monsters have come out. Now, monsters being kind of any kind of supernatural being. They're just called monsters. They had, like, a monster war, and then a treaty was signed. Kierce is a wonderful thief, and so goes around and steals stuff all the time for people. And she stumbles into this one house with this beautiful library and comes across a monster. And then the story goes on from there. It was good. Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to leave it. It was good. All right, my next one is my lowest rated, and I'm really bummed about it. I will not be continuing on with this series. Rogue Protocol by Martha Wells. This is book 3 in the Murderbot Diaries series. I was listening to this one. Now, I read the first one and listened to book 2 and 3. There's something about these books that, like, my brain cannot stay connected and engaged in this story. I don't know why. I think kind of, Murderbot is telling the story, and he's very monotone, even when there's, like, explosions and fights and stuff happening. What has saved the other 2 books is that, I don't know, his connections to people have been, I don't know, just better. And I feel like his connections to people and other robots and stuff in this, it really didn't grab me. So this story really, really didn't grab me. Like, at the end of it, I was like, I don't know what's happening, because I would be like, okay, come on, brain, like, focus on the book. Focus on the book. I couldn't do it. So I did give it 2 stars, which is the complete unpopular opinion, but that's what I'm rating it. And I will not continue on with the series. Then my last 2 books that I am going to talk about were part of my 5-star prediction challenge, and so that video is linked down below. I will not talk huge in depth about them because I did on that vlog. But the first is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. This is the sequel to House on the Cerulean Sea. This was 4.5. It was amazing. I loved getting back to this world, and with the magical children and Arthur and Linus. It was great. I think what solidified Cerulean Sea for me was that it was, like, cozy. And obviously both books are very political. This one just felt like nastier political. And I know that's like picking strings. It just didn't hit me as amazing. Like 5-star book. It was definitely a 4.5-star book. It was so great. I'm really glad that I read it and kind of put a bow on this whole world. Yeah, it was good. And then my last book was my only 5-star book of the month, and it is against popular opinion, and I don't know how. I really, really enjoyed it. The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. This has like a 3.5 rating on Goodreads right now. I thought it was fantastic. I think that there's like amazing like philosophy, and I don't know, there were like paragraphs or whole chapters that I would have to stop and like reread. There was a whole chapter that I read out loud to my husband, who doesn't read, but I'm like, you have to listen to this. It's so cool. Some people are having problems with the representation of mental health, and I can see it. Yes, there are characters in here that are dealing with mental health problems and are not seeking professional help. And that has bothered me with books in the past. It didn't bother me with this one And I think because this book is not portrayed as like realistic, there are magical things happening in this story, and the way that grief is dealt with is not in a realistic sense. It's dealt with in a magical sense. And so, like, obviously people in real life aren't going to be dealing with grief in a magical sense. So I don't know. That's just my kind of input on it. But I thought it was so fantastic. 5 stars. If you want a really detailed talk about this or Somewhere Beyond the Sea, go check out that vlog. All right, that's it. That's the books that I have. These videos always stress me out. It always takes me a little bit to like figure out what I want to say and how I want to say it. Remember characters' names in books. That's always a challenge. So I am going to be working on that. I would like to be able to give like a really good in-depth non-spoiler review and not have to do a ton of editing. So it's a work in progress. But I will be back at the beginning of December to talk about all of November books. So far, it has had a really good start, so I'm really excited about that. As always, if you like this or anything else that I post here on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.